Okay, so we're at the end of the year pretty much, and I have some thoughts as a proudly terminally online person. And my thoughts wait for no one, not even for me to go get my makeup. That's why I'm coming to you barefaced, not even my brows done. Alright, let's get into it. So, today I'm going to talk about things that Leftube can leave behind in 2019. Because this has not been a great year for Leftube. So I kind of want to talk about that. Number one thing we can leave behind in 2019: making survivors feel like shit and unsafe, and platforming people who are assaulters or who have made apology or have said that they don't believe an assaulter did something or that a harasser did something. So we can leave behind she's a rapist, fuck you. We can leave behind I know everything about this case, I don't believe the victims. And we are leaving behind Vosh. We're leaving behind Vosh. I don't know how he got big in the first place because it's known that he's a sexual harasser, but the sexual harassment, the transphobia, all of that can just go away. Number two, we can kind of leave behind cis people's opinions on trans discourse. So, like whenever a popular YouTuber who has leftist fans who claim she's a leftist for some reason talks nonsense about non-binary people for a year straight, and then non-binary people finally just get fucking sick of it, maybe we can listen to them and not say, oh, she's not a true scum, she did a video about true scum. No, because the word true scum is banned in her subreddit. And don't get me started on, oh, it's just an abusive mod. Fuck that. Also, in 2019, we're leaving behind abusive mods. It's a huge problem, and I think it's a big problem in all large servers, but it's especially a huge problem in leftist servers. So if you say, for example, that a person attempted suicide because of harassment sent from a person's fans, and then the person whose fans pushed them to attempt suicide said that it's an abuse tactic, and whenever you point that out, you get kicked. That's because they're friends with the person who said that that's an abuse tactic. Let's leave that whole thing behind. We are also leaving behind alarmists about cancel culture. And listen, I know I'm going to be getting kind of shit for this, but I also don't care. So yeah, we're so leaving behind alarmists about cancel culture, especially because they tend to be white guys or white non-binary people who just don't really care about shit. You know who I'm talking about? There's the head honcho, but then there's also, Professor Darwin from Re-Education. I don't know his real name. I don't give a shit about him. Ron from the Rugged Midwesterner. Ron from the Thought Slime Discord, who's kind of a shit mod. Pretty much all of those, or Amelia Jane, who's also pretty shit and brags about spending or jumping on the opportunity to spend hundreds of dollars or over $100 to support a known racist and say that it's fine because the racism ended in 2008, even though there's documentation that it did not end in 2008. And also, let's stop calling everyone whose leftism we don't agree with a liberal. It's not cool. I really don't enjoy people that are like, this person, has said racist things or something like that, and then it's like, oh, liberal identity politics, or my opinion on this is kind of more valid than yours because I'm a gay person and you're not. Oh, liberal identity politics. Like, we're leaving behind anti-identity politics leftism in 2019 because I think that to really deal with, capitalism and stuff, we need to raise the voices of oppressed groups. That means that us white people need to be shutting up once in a while. And that means that cis people, please shut up when any discourse about Natalie or Vosh comes up. Also, in 2019, we're not calling Natalie a breadtuber anymore because she explicitly said that in her men video that she doesn't even think that she's a socialist anymore. So, she's not really a leftist community content creator anymore. She's just a liberal who used to be a comrade, but then made like $500,000 a year on Patreon or whatever. I don't think it's a year, but it's a ridiculous amount of money to make on Patreon, and I don't really like that. I don't really like, content creators with a truly ridiculous amount of Patreon subscribers. Also, in 2019, we're leaving behind, this exclusivity about breadtube, that if somebody makes videos that are explicitly anti-capitalist but don't identify themselves with breadtube, that they can't be part of, the community. Like, I talk a lot about how I like anti-consumerist YouTubers. There's the big four for me: Abby Williamson, Smokey Low, Lacey of Spooky Lips and Fat Hips, and Nisi Pisa. They make kind of explicitly, alright, maybe not Smokey Low, she kind of just makes left-ish content, but those other three make explicitly leftist content, but because they make it through the frame of makeup, I feel like they're not taken seriously. Actually, Abby and Maggie Mae Fish are kind of mutuals on Instagram. Also, but, for some reason, we don't treat her as a valid member of the LeftTube community. I don't know why. Also, in 2019, I think that we're kind of going to, I zoned out there for a second. I think that we're going to be talking more about, how to do things than just talking about media criticism. And I also think that media criticism shouldn't be explicitly called a leftist venture. Like, I get it, Big Joel. You made a video analysis on Shrek, and it's fine, but it's not leftist content anymore than these other YouTubers making otherwise anti-consumerist and anti-capitalist content are. So I don't know why he's considered breadtube, but other people aren't. It's the misogyny. Also, we're leaving behind misgendering in 2019, and we are leaving behind parasocial relationships between big breadtubers and small breadtubers / their fans in 2019. Peter Coffin is a huge offender at this. They make, I don't know if they're real friendships or they're just parasocial relationships with people like Darwin and Curio and Amelia Jane and Patricia Taxon and Jack Saint, and all of them will just go out of their way to defend them. And I call it Peter's Reply Squad because I'm on the content that they make, but their friendship with Peter and their Twitter presence has made them so unlikable that I just can't even stand them. Obviously not stand. But yeah, we're leaving out the kind of abusive parasocial relationships between big breadtubers and small breadtubers and their fans. I think it's gross and manipulative because it's one thing to see Peter and Thought Slime talk about something. It's entirely another to see Amelia Jane making a massive video about how Peter should stop being called out about for being a rape apologist. And oh yeah, end of 2019 reminder: Peter Coffin and Angie Speaks are rape apologists. They misrepresented the whole drama earlier this year because there have been a lot more people coming. So they hope that they can just say, "Oh, I was canceled by the Vampire Castle social media mob." But let's remember the real situation, okay? Whenever somebody says she's a rapist and your reply is, "Fuck you, I'm not getting involved in this shit," when the only request made was to remove that person as a moderator, that's like 3 clicks per website. And you'd be making people feel, specifically trans women, feel more comfortable. Also, we're ending this trend in 2019 where people say that trans men, specifically this one transmasculine person who is non-binary, calls people out for rape and then saying that it's a trans misogynist thing because the person being called out for raping people is a trans woman. But also, here's the secret: their victims are trans women too, and it's equally trans misogynistic to not believe a victim of a rape, especially because trans women are way more likely to be raped than to be the rapists. So it's actually kind of trans misogynist. So yeah, it's really not okay to be doing that. And in this case, I kind of am referring to that one gritty account that used to be cool but then got really weird. And in 2019, I just went to read my books about Emma Goldman and Johann Most, and I want to read and not be inundated with another left tuber doing a shitty thing every week. So let's bring that energy into 2019. All right. So I'll see y'all next week whenever it's finally the end of finals. I'm so excited to get my thesis done. I'll see you later. Bye.